Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode. I we should have done this earlier. There's not going to be much of an intro this time. I
Better
feel
now
like
than never.
we're just going to get into the podcast right then and there. What the fuck was that? I thought we'd let it marinate for a little bit, see how if some controversy emerges, something happens, but it's just done. Luca's going to be starting right now. Like
Yeah, Luka's literally starting right now. It's a done deal. Luka Doncic is a Los Angeles Laker in 2025.
I never thought I'd be saying these words. Even if he got traded, I would never think it was the Lakers.
Yeah,
But yes, to everybody who's been living under a rock, the guy who led his team to the finals last year, the guy who was number two in MVP voting last year, the guy who has never missed a first team All NBA in his entire career, who also won Rookie of the Year, just got traded, a few weeks back for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and just one 2029 first round pick. It was a three-team trade, and the Lakers did get three players, including Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris for Luka.
I
And the
mean,
Jazz
yeah,
got, a few second-round picks and
yeah.
Jalen Hood. But I'm, I've just been in shock the past few weeks. I'm not even a Mavericks fan, but I've been posting Luka edits. I've been seeing Luka edits. I've been reminiscing about all the times, that he's been insane on the Mavs. What do you even like? Why would anyone do this trade? Like, I remember you saying that it was like kind of bad for the Lakers. Please tell me why it was bad for the Lakers.
Okay, that was fresh off of me reeling from the fact that LeBron's best friend was going away. But coming to reality, Doncic is first of all a much younger and better player than AD, and unfortunately, we also saw AD get re-injured, and he might be out for a few weeks, if not a month.
I feel really
So
bad for AD. Like
yeah,
he was balling. He was balling on his debut with the Mavs. I
that
actually thought,
was
okay,
he
maybe,
got
yeah,
injured in the third quarter, and by that point in that game, he had 26 points, 16 rebounds, if I'm not wrong. That's
yeah.
yeah, that's. I saw a post on Twitter that said the Dallas Mavericks got the entire Anthony Davis experience in one game.
Yeah. Now they're relying on Kyrie Irving, All
Kyrie
Star
Irving,
Kyrie Irving.
All Star Kyrie Irving.
What Nico Harrison, the death threats he got, that was all really hilarious because I've never seen a GM get death threats for a trade that he made for his player. That's just wild, man.
See, the thing is, it's definitely not surface level. There is there's something that we're missing. There's definitely something that we're missing, and there's something that definitely went behind the scenes. Definitely, there was. Did you even come across a statement given by the Mavericks owner about how legendary players, have always had the passion to win, and people without that passion and drive and hunger and motivation should not be part of the Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, the
He
Dallas
issued that
Mavericks,
statement.
the Dallas Mavericks who've probably made what, three NBA finals.
They made three NBA finals, and one is because of Doncic. That's crazy.
They traded away Steve Nash. They couldn't keep Tyson Chandler multiple times. They like let him go and then brought him back because he was such a defensive presence. He has gone on record saying if they had actually kept him in that 2011 after that 2011 championship run, they might have repeated. But instead, they always do stupid moves like this. They traded Jalen Brunson. They they couldn't keep any chemistry alive with anyone with Luka because of some stupid coaching issue. Something everything was going wrong. But then now you trade Luka himself for a guy who came only because of Luka. You think Kyrie would have even chosen the Mavs as a trade destination if not for Luka? He would have actually waited in the Nets probably for a Lakers trade or something like that, right?
Yeah, I really don't know what. Kyrie would have done, because if you go back to all the Nets drama, it was every day waking up not knowing what Kyrie Irving would do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a completely different conversation. But this is completely unfathomable, and the Lakers pounced on this opportunity as would any rational team in the NBA. And now they, if he resigns, they have their future set for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's definitely going to be interesting to see LeBron and Luca play together, and how well they mesh with each other. I'm pretty sure they can make it work. But as we run over all the trades that went down and some of the trades that were rescinded, we'll know what the problems the Lakers have, what problems the other teams have, and the complete winners and losers of this trade deadline.
Yeah. I think we'll give the grade at the end. But yeah, I think this will be more of an adjustment for LeBron to make because Lakers will not try to, I don't know how to say it lightly, but they won't try to maximize LeBron anymore. They'll think, oh, what do we do to make Luca stay? What do we,
Stay.
yeah. So they might actually end up moving some pieces that are win now to win in the future with Luca. So that could also end up
Yeah.
happening. But LeBron is probably the most Swiss Army knife type of player in the NBA. He can adjust to any play routine. He knows pretty much every play that every team runs at the back of his head. So it'll be really interesting to see how he does it at age 40. Yeah. This is going to be really nice. And the Lakers, I don't know, man, they just got lucky. They've literally just gotten lucky in this and
Yeah, I
landed
completely
probably,
agree.
if not number one, the number two best player, best guard in the NBA for sure. Other than SGA, the
Yeah,
best guard in the NBA. I don't
absolutely,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Moving on to the next trade.
I think the second biggest trade, probably, I would definitely say this, is De'Aaron Fox going to the San Antonio Spurs along with Jordan McLaughlin, and Sacramento Kings getting Zach Levine, City Soko, and around six picks, three first round and three second round picks. And the Bulls getting Zach Collins, Kevin Herter, and Trey Jones, and a 2025 first round pick from the Spurs.
Again, what are the Bulls doing, man? They just
Yeah.
they did this trade and then they lost to the Warriors, where the Warriors went on a 70-20 run.
73 to 28, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Who are these people? Like, why would you not try to develop at least one player? The Bulls have traded everyone from their core. They only have Lonzo
I think
and
they're just
Vucevic.
I think they're just playing for the vibes at this point. They traded, I think DeRozan left in free agency,
Yeah.
and Zach Levine has now been traded. I don't know. It's a dead franchise as of now, and
They
I
had so much promise. If you
am
remember, they were the first seed
yeah,
with Zoe, Levine, Debo, and Vucevic playing, and then the
yeah,
Lonzo injury went down.
yeah,
Man, I still remember that 40 piece or was it 50 piece against the Bucks in the first round that DeRozan had the mid range, absolutely lethal display. I don't know what to say, man. But yeah, I think yeah, let's stop talking about the Bulls because this is again some kind of fraud, bro. This is the Mavericks and the Bulls need to be investigated at some point. But yeah, what do you think about the Spurs getting Fox? I personally think it should have been Trey Young, but sadly we don't get what we want. Trey
yes,
Young
I
doesn't get
agree
the
with that.
lucky pass like Doncic.
I do think this is a good trade for the Spurs and can take them to the playoffs next season. Doubtful this season, but I'm hopeful for next season. And with De'Aaron Fox having CP3 as a mentor, I think he would be able to fit better into the point guard role with a player as dynamic and as easy to assist as Wemby.
Yeah, yeah. And they have a plethora of young talent. Castle as well as
Vassell,
Vassell. They also have Keldon Johnson. He's still there, right? Like they didn't
Yeah.
trade him off. Yeah, yeah. So Keldon Johnson is actually very interesting because he should actually be the face of the Spurs, but I understand what they're trying to do now to maximize everybody on the team. So this is really good for the Spurs because, like you said, CP3 being a mentor is a really interesting angle. I didn't think of it like that because I think Fox is a very refined point guard already. He's seamlessly fit in. He's hit multiple clutch shots already with the Spurs. So, yeah, in the easiest sense, I think it'll be very easy for Wemby to develop his game without the pressure of having facing multiple defenders. His averages are sure to go up, and they have a bona fide closer, clutch player of the season, De'Aaron Fox. So this is shocking because now all they need is like a forward to like develop and create for them, and that's legitimately a big three. It's going to be very scary, maybe even next year, as soon as next year.
Yeah.
Even this year, who wants to face the Spurs in the play-in if they do make it? Any West team is going to be afraid.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Yeah. Even the Lakers, I would say, had a very good advantage because of AD's presence. But right now, I don't know how they're going to play the Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely right. And as for the Kings, right, like they've been playing much more dynamic style of basketball, like right now since they, uh, fired coach Mike Brown.
Mhm.
And I have to say, this may or may not work in the playoffs. Like I feel like Coach Mike Brown, he had a certain identity about him. And this guy is good. Like he's coaching a much varied style. He gets everybody involved and stuff like that. But I don't know about how far the Kings are going to go with this sort of play style. Do you think the Kings have gotten better with Zach Levine? Because I saw him play the other day and like, they were good. But now I don't know about like the chemistry of the team. I don't know about how far the coaching is going to go. I don't know about their defense, especially. It's going to be a while before we get to know what the Kings are going to be.
Yeah. See, the thing is, the Kings now again have the duo of Zach Levine and DeMar DeRozan, and it's kind of funny to see them being teammates in the Bulls and just coming here as a package. But I think the Kings might just be mid this season because of roster changes, coaching changes, and just I don't expect all the players to be really consistent. But with Sabonis playing the way he is, definitely kudos to him. He's a double double machine. Um, I think the trio of Sabonis, Levine, and DeRozan can definitely make some noise if coaching goes well and if the role players are pretty good. Because Sacramento's culture in the last 2 3 seasons at least has been threes and incredible defense. I still remember how Davion Mitchell was hunting Steph Curry in 2023 and 2024, and it just shows that tenacity, especially when the crowd feeds into the players. There are not a lot of arenas with crowds like Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz. Those crowds are just electric, and you can feel how the players get energized with those crowds. So, with such an identity, with Sacramento having such an identity, it's definitely a team to root for. But will they make some noise this season? I'm pretty doubtful. They still are above 10. They are currently the ninth seed, above the Phoenix Suns and Golden State Warriors. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where they can go in the play-in, if they can win and take the eighth seed or the seventh seed. It's going to be interesting, but I think their best case scenario is a first round bounce.
Right. Yeah, the West is a very cutthroat competition type place, and like you
Yeah.
said, the teams under them are also inconsistent. But now that the Warriors, have bolstered their ranks with a blockbuster trade again, it might actually be curtains for the Kings. But yeah, like you said, like I feel like their playoff chances might be slim. I do think that they don't have much more than maybe a second round exit at best. right? Like not anything better than that. Yeah, but yeah, talking about like the Warriors, right? Like this is probably like one of the other best trades. Like they initially traded for Dennis Schroeder and stuff like that. I didn't know what they were doing with that, but eventually, what we didn't know they were doing was that they were trying to get one really superstar level player, really good superstar level player. They were inquiring about Kevin Durant. They were looking for a reunion, but that didn't work out because KD said no. But then they got um, Jimmy Butler from the Heat, and so it's a good trade because one Jimmy wanted to really leave the Heat, and the Warriors needed that slight push above where they were, and
Yeah.
they had to give up a lot of their bench depth, Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and Lindy Waters as well, and it was like a humongous trade. Like I think like it was a 4 or 5 team trade,
Yeah.
and it's absolutely insane for the Warriors. Um, so, what do you think about the Warriors now? Especially considering that we've already seen Jimmy play with them for a game, and when two today they just beat the Bucks. What are your thoughts?
I feel like they really have the potential to make some noise. If you saw yesterday's interview with Steph and Jimmy, Steph explains that he and Jimmy are literally the opposites of each other. Steph dominates outside the perimeter while Jimmy dominates inside the paint. And those kind of duos, I would say, are kind of hard to guard because when it comes to switching off of one another, defenders will have to be really laser focused on where to go and how to hesitate and how to deal with their drives because you have a higher chance of fouling Jimmy Butler in the paint than Steph Curry in the paint, and you have a higher chance of losing Steph Curry outside the perimeter, but not. It's not the case with Jimmy Butler. And even if you do lose him outside the perimeter, it's not much of a threat compared to Steph. So defenses are going to have a hard time to adjust to their um, contrasting play styles. But at the same time, I do trust Steve Kerr, and I know that he can make things work, especially with any given situation, any given roster. So I feel like he has something up his sleeve for sure. And when you have superstars who have a lot of experience, as much as these guys do, you can automatically mesh with your new teammates. I feel like. So
Yeah,
the Warriors are currently out of the plane, but I don't expect them to stay there.
right. Yeah. Like you said, meshing is one thing, but do you think they have the bench depth to sustain a deep playoff run? Um,
No, I don't think they can sustain a deep playoff run. Um, but at the same time, the wildest of things have happened. So I'm not gonna put a bet on it, but on paper, they don't seem deep enough to make a big playoff push.
yeah, yeah, I have to agree with that. They lost a starter with Wiggins and they replaced him with Butler, which is a really good upgrade in my opinion.
Yeah.
But then again, you lose Kyle Anderson, you lose Lindy Waters
Dennis
also,
Schroeder.
well, yeah, Dennis Schroeder as well, and they were playing decent roles on this team, and now the depth has not been optimally, um, you know, cut down. It's been like cut down a little more significantly than we would have hoped for, than they would have hoped for. Sorry. So it would all depend on how durable Jimmy Butler is as well, because he's been going through his own injury woes across the past few seasons, and he is what reaching his mid 30s. And talking about Steph and Jimmy, it will be a dream for them to play alongside each other. But again, I don't know what the rest of the team is going to look like because Jimmy is not a player who you can just swing the ball to hope he shoots. He's not that guy. He will do his own thing. He will drive into the paint. He will try to produce his own offense, which is not what the Warriors do. Like they'll do that only as a last ditch effort. So it's going to be very interesting. But again, like this is probably a trade that the Warriors did as a desperation move. because if they had gotten someone even better like KD or something, they would have been happier,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Apparently, they did push for KD, but KD was like, "No way, I'm going back there." So,
Yeah, which I do
I mean, that
understand.
just yeah, that's totally understandable. That just shows how badly he was treated by um, you know who. So
Even the fans,
Draymond
right? Yeah,
Green. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
even
was
the
talking about.
fans.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Draymond especially, but I would say the fans
Yeah,
too because if you look
yeah,
at
they
the
acted
Lakers,
like yeah,
yeah, if you look at a team like the Lakers, they're never going to say, "Oh, it was AD's team." Even if AD did outplay LeBron in a lot of games, they will still say, "Oh, it's LeBron who's the best player," right? Like, but in that, and KD will get the same treatment. He will never be acknowledged as the best player on the Warriors ever because Curry is always there, and he's won a chip without KD. So it makes sense for his legacy as well as his self-respect. I feel like there's a lot of things he could
yeah,
have. Obviously, he could have gone, but KD is better than the Warriors. Like he doesn't have to
yeah,
go back there and like have some reunion of some sorts and like prove again that he can win a championship. He's
exactly.
already a generational player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
I was just following the Lakers Jazz game. Apparently, Luka's off to a good start.
yeah, he already has like 9 points. No
Yeah,
words, man.
and he also threw a lob to Jackson Hayes.
This is actually
Yeah,
gonna go down as some of the stupidest, most infuriating trade deals because I hope he leaves. I'm being very honest. I hope Luka leaves the Lakers. Come to the Rockets, bro. Come. We trade
I
away
mean,
everyone.
he could leave the Lakers, but I don't think he's ever going to come to the Rockets.
I mean, Dallas reunion. He can terrorize. Um, you know,
The
being in the
Mavericks?
same division as us
Yeah.
as the Mavericks, he can pretty much terrorize them if he joins
I would
Houston.
actually rather Luca join the Spurs at this point.
If Luca, no, no, no. The Spurs realized that they'll have to wait, but Fox might be a long stay for them. They'll want like
See,
a
the thing
team.
is,
Yeah.
Fox could become a shooting guard. He could
Oh,
quite
you
literally
say
just become a shooting guard.
Luca, Fox, and Wemby.
Yes.
Okay. So, and now after seeing the Luca trade, I feel anything is possible. Like,
Anything is
I,
possible. And if they want to make this happen, it's over for the league.
yeah,
It's literally over. The Spurs dynasty is back.
yeah,
It's going to be Tony Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan all over again.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't want the Spurs to be that kind of dynasty again. I hope they're beatable. Even with Wemby alone, Wemby with CP3, I think is a really great team. If Wemby can like develop his post game, we'll like
Yeah.
have to. We'll see what they do in the future. Like I said, right, they might try to develop some of these players, like make them into a superstar caliber, at least like a great role player caliber. But again, they have good assets to trade, and they could get a
Yeah.
good forward already from the market. And speaking of good forwards, the Raptors just traded for Brandon Ingram, and they had to give up like Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk to the Pelicans, as well as one first round pick and a second round pick, which is I think a little cheap for Ingram. Like I feel like his caliber is really good. Like I
I
don't
think it's a
understand
little too much, as a matter of fact.
for Ingram,
Yes.
bro. How are you saying that after seeing Kyle Kuzma be the type of player he was? I feel like Ingram is actually a really good. He's
Ingram needs to
actually
stay
taken his team
healthy.
to the playoffs as well.
He needs to stay healthy. That's the thing.
Yeah, injury was aside, I feel Brandon Ingram doesn't get the respect he deserves. He's like baby KD, but he hasn't developed his.
He's been baby KD for the past 6 years. What are you on, bro?
Yeah,
Ask
he's
the
been on
baby
the
to
Pelicans
grow.
as well, right? Like so, you don't get to see him
Yeah.
as often on national games. He doesn't get much of the hype as players like even D Book or say even Zion. Whenever Zion comes back, I see one post, oh, Zion is back, this, that. But I never say, oh, Ingram
Yeah.
has done this,
Yeah.
that. No. But it's just sad to me now that he's on the Raptors. Even though the Raptors have a solid squad now, quickly say
As a
uh,
matter of fact, you're not wrong. The Raptors actually have a squad.
Barrett, Ingram, as well as
Scotty
obviously
Barnes.
Scotty, as well as who else? Who's their center? I forgot.
I think Chris. No, Jakob Portal.
Portal, yeah, from like,
It's
from
actually
Spurs,
a
right?
good
Yeah.
squad now.
Good,
Like,
really good squad. Except I don't think Portal is a great center. He's decent, like he's a good rebounder and everything.
I mean,
But
yeah.
yeah,
I
if you
mean,
look at that potential,
Maybe
Barrett,
Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Ingram. That's actually a really, really good team.
solid up and coming big three, like they're rising
Yeah.
stars by definition. Yeah, and I feel Ingram can teach Scotty how to develop his jumper as well because I think Ingram has a really smooth midi, and
Yeah.
he has been to the playoffs a lot. And RJ, what he's been to the playoffs once? No, he's been to the playoffs twice, if I remember correctly.
Twice.
Once where he lost to the Trey and the Hawks, and then they lost to Jimmy, right?
Yes.
Right. Mm. But whatever you say, Barrett is also a really good player. He hasn't been as consistent as I would have liked him to be, but he's very good. So this is
I
a
also
really good
feel
trade for the
like,
Raptors. Yeah.
yeah, I don't really like the coach of the Raptors.
Darko.
With this roster, I feel like I was expecting more, but let's see what he can do with this team now with Ingram over there.
Yeah, yeah. I feel the
I mean,
Raptors
I
have
don't blame him.
potential for a
Scotty has
deep
been
push.
injured for a major part too, so can't put it all on him.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like they're primed for a great push because the East has not gotten stronger in any sense. Like it's just the Celtics, Bucks, pretty much. Even the Heat, even though they traded Jimmy,
Now
they
the Cavs are up front, so
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cavs, yeah. I feel like me personally, I feel like they'll make a deep run. But again, if they face a team like the Raptors with this kind of like star power and depth, I'll be honest, I don't know. In a seven-game series, it could go either way. And say what you
wait,
will about the coaching
you
staff
mean
as
the
well.
Cavs and the Raptors?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
See, the playoffs is a different beast. The playoffs are an actual different beast.
The players are a different beast, yes, and that is why people with actual experience like Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Darius Garland are going to thrive.
Darius
And
Garland.
yes,
I feel like he has the most to prove. This might be a very outlier take, but I feel like the Cavaliers would even be better suited to playing a team like the Bucks or say even who else is in the playoff picture? Miami Heat, obviously, teams like that.
hmm
The problem with the team like the Raptors is they have length now. They have really long players, which can challenge the Cavaliers front court as well. The only player who I see has having that kind of skill level is Jared Allen is a proper center, and Evan Mobley is the only guy who I can see having that kind of skill set to compare with like the likes of Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes. If healthy, I feel like the Raptors are a really good team right now. And seeding aside, they might make a deep push in playoffs. This might be my controversial take for the season, but I think the Raptors are playing for a very deep push in playoffs. Second round, I think for sure, because Philly is dog shit this season. The Bucks are also kind of struggling. Giannis is now out injured, so it might be the Raptors
I
kind of
think you're
shine.
forgetting the fact that the Cavs have also added DeAndre Hunter.
Okay, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, we're
So
going to
let's
talk about
cover
that
that
next.
trade while we're there. Yeah. So the Cavs have acquired DeAndre Hunter in exchange for Caris LeVert and George Niang. So
Yeah,
I feel like they gave up 3-point shooting for some defense and mediocre 3-point shooting.
yeah, yeah. And looking at where the Raptors are at, this is going to be absolutely insane with the 13th seed. They're 16 and 37. And looking at the teams above them, Nets, Sixers, and Bulls, there is a possibility that they could make it into the 10 seed,
How are
but
the Nets? How are the Nets not dead last?
it's because there's a team called the Wizards.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, at least now it's Jordan Poole's team, and he rightfully
Yeah,
deserves
exactly.
this. Yeah,
He's
but
been
yeah,
better this season than last season. So
yeah,
we'll
he's had a
see
lot
what
of good
the
games.
future holds for him. Yeah.
And yeah, coming back to the Cavs getting DeAndre Hunter. Hunter is a really under the radar type player. He's absolutely amazing as a small forward, power forward, and he can shoot the ball as well decently. Not great, but like he's good, and he is a good defender as well. So I feel like the Cavs realized that with Levert and Niang, you were getting decent production, but not like consistent starter level production which you can carry into the playoffs. So they've traded down a little bit of depth. This is the kind of trade that the Warriors should have done. Honestly, just trade Wiggins alone for like some player, maybe, or like give more of your picks for something. But this is an amazing trade for the Cavaliers because now they play Mitchell, Garland, Hunter,
Allen
Mobley,
Mobley.
and
Mobley and
Allen.
Allen,
Yeah.
sorry.
Insane, absolutely crazy starting lineup. They also do have the length. So
Yeah.
yeah, my Raptors take might sound absurd right now because they're absolutely shit right now and they probably won't be moving up. But I'm going to stick to it. I feel like the Raptors are a team that can rival the Cavs in terms of length, even now that they've added Hunter. And it all comes down to that, right? Like I feel like they have good production on offense and defense. And looking at the top teams in the West, sorry, in the East, it's obviously going to be Celtics and Cavs who are the top two, and then Knicks and Bucks fall into the next category. And Knicks, I have my doubts, but Cat has been really good this season. And Bucks, if Giannis is 100% healthy in the playoffs, which he hasn't been in the past few years, they are also a really good contender. But other than that, it's anybody's game in the East, according to me. The Magic have dropped, Heat have dropped, obviously. Pacers are very inconsistent. Pistons, actually, you know what? Sorry, the Pistons,
Pistons.
my sleeper team, other than my controversial take about the Raptors, is
Hmm.
Pistons. They are really really good this season, and they've been blowing away teams consistently, and even without Cade. So I'm really happy for them. Like I hope that they can maintain this level of play, and
Yeah.
kudos to the coaching staff. They were not in this position last year. They haven't made major overhauls to the team, but they're really good now.
When you mentioned the Wizards can finally become Jordan Poole's team, did you take into account that they've also added Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the smart trade might really help with that. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at the Wizards, right, like they've had a pseudo big three now. Like you said, they've added Smart and Middleton. I wouldn't really consider him part of big three right now because he's very injury
Right now,
prone and
yeah.
is yeah,
Yeah.
and he's not playing at that same level. But I
Let's
don't
go
think
with the
Smart
details
would.
of the
Yeah,
trade. Yeah. The Wizards received Marcus Smart, Colby Jones, and Alex Len, and a 2025 first round pick from the Grizzlies, whereas the Grizzlies got two second round picks, Marvin Bagley the third, Johnny Davis. I think they could help with Marvin Bagley could definitely help with the center position. Given his role has not been kind of fulfilled in any of the teams he's been in. Hopefully, we'll see what the Grizzlies can do with his play style. And
again,
in this
number
trade,
two,
the Kings
number two was
also
Luka
received.
Doncic in that trade,
Yeah,
in that
actually,
draft. I mean, sorry.
yeah. And the Kings receive Jake LaRavia
Yeah.
through the Grizzlies. Do you know who that is?
No,
Jake LaRavia.
let me just check
Yeah.
that now.
Looking at the Middleton trade, the Wizards got Chris Middleton and AJ Johnson from the Bucks and a 2028 first round pick swap. The Bucks got Kyle Kuzma, Jericho Sims from the Knicks, a 2025 second round pick and a 2026 second round pick. The Knicks got Delon Wright from the Bucks, cash considerations and draft rights to Hugo Besson through the Bucks, and the Spurs got Patrick Baldwin Jr. from the Wizards and cash considerations.
Right.
I feel like the Spurs are making multiple sleeper moves that might just culminate to get their team overall better. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna be fun to see what they do.
They're getting players who are on expiring contracts or some cash considerations. It's like flipping things just to be safe for the future because now they
Yeah,
have Fox and they do have Wemby signed. They don't really care about CP3 as far as I can tell. And the rest of their players are young. They're not gonna be demanding too much money in the near future as far as I can tell. But yeah, it's very smart from them. Great, well-run organization, unlike the Mavericks. But yeah, the Bucks getting Kuzma. This is a trade that again I don't know, man. This is, excuse me, Lillard and Kuzma is not going to take you far without Giannis.
I saw a post that said there's a new big three in Milwaukee. Like the title Big Three used to mean something.
Yeah, he see it could work out, obviously, right? Because Kuzma is a player who has NBA Finals experience. He's won a
Who
championship.
has championship experience, yes.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
true. But he's definitely not, as of today, fit enough to be part of a big three.
yeah,
So he can
and
be a good role player, good 3 and D wing defender, but that's literally his ceiling as of today.
yeah,
Give him his own team and you saw what he did.
yeah. Saw all these edits where Bucks really got a team and it was just Kuzma putting 5, 6 airballs.
Eyeballs, yeah.
It could go really well though. Like I'm
See,
giving
the
the
thing
Bucks
is,
a good trade
yeah,
rating because of this because they just flipped Middleton, right? Like Middleton hasn't been great for them.
yeah.
He's just been out of the lineup. But this is not going to help them beat the Celtics, bro. Like I don't see them beating the Celtics still. Yeah, this is not
No.
some Drew Holiday for Marcus Smart type upgrade. This is like what do I even say? This is like Tobias Harris to Paul George type upgrade. Actually, that's been a downgrade so far. Sorry, what am I even saying? Yeah,
PG is catching strays.
yeah, PG, bro. Like I know what's and again like let's talk about the teams that didn't make a trade. Phoenix Suns and Sixers. Actually, Sixers made a trade for
Even the
what's his
Suns
name?
traded Yusuf Nurkic.
Yes, let's talk about that. So the Suns, they were in the market for like a huge trade, right? They were looking to flip Beal for Jimmy Butler. Then they said, I don't think that trade was like feasible. And then I think they said, oh, we're shipping KD. KD said no to everything. And so they just said, yeah, let's just get rid of our worst plus minus player, the guy who's been like holding us back. And they flipped Nurkic. And what do you think about that trade? They traded
So
Nurkic away for
Cody
uh,
Martin and Micic.
right. Cody Martin is again a good player, but do you think that center woes have been solved by this trade with Michic as well as Cody Martin?
I don't think so. I
This
don't think this
is
is a win for the Suns. Neither is it for
yeah,
the Hornets. But there are some teams that just trade players for the sake of trading players. So I would say this is one of them.
yeah. I feel like they just want to get rid of Nurkic any way
Yeah,
possible and take on some trades, some deals, and maybe get better next year. So, yeah,
yeah.
as long as they could do that, might be good. But yeah, I think what else was the other trade? Yeah, Philadelphia 76ers trading Caleb Martin away for Quentin Grimes. And again, it's to the Mavericks. What are the Mavericks doing? Quentin Grimes is a really good player. Why are you trading away for Caleb?
I don't even want to talk about the Mavericks anymore. But another interesting trade that could be impactful was the Clippers getting Bogdanovich and the Hawks getting Terrence Mann, Bones Highland, 2025 second round pick, a 2026 second round pick, and a 2027 second round pick. See,
Yeah.
the thing is, I feel like the Hawks got more for Bogdanovich compared to what the Mavericks got for Luka. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's don't get me started on oof, I don't know, bro.
Yeah. See,
But
I'm not underestimating AD as a player. He's
definitely not.
genuinely top 10 NBA player, honestly.
But you gotta look at the scales here.
Yeah.
It's Luka Doncic, who is 25 years old. It's not even about the age or the name. He went to the NBA Finals last year. He took down the best defense in 5 games. In the
The
closeout
defense
game,
that beat the reigning champion Nuggets, by the way.
exactly. In the closeout game in Minnesota, he had 20 points in the first quarter. I don't know what passion the owner was talking about, but I remember seeing that live, and I was like, this man's going to be a problem. This man is actually going to be a problem for the rest of the league. And now that demon is on my Lakers.
Kill me. Bro,
Smiling
like,
through it all. I can't believe this is my life.
as a fan of the Rockets, I saw how we struggled to develop our players. It took years for Green to develop, Sengun to develop, and then Jabari is still developing. And we signed a few vets, Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks, and then we had to change our coach and everything. It took a lot of time, and now we're a solid defense. And honestly, if we had gotten a gift like Luka Doncic, I would have cried. That's just so sad. It's very sad to be a Mavericks fan, honestly. Just stupid.
Yeah,
But
I totally agree.
talking about the Lakers, right? They don't have a center, and they tried. They tried sending Connect Four to the Hornets to get Mark Williams again. Just malpractice from the Hornets. Why would you make that trade? Just let the Lakers be without a center, man. Like let them lose, right? Like idiots. But then it was rescinded because Mark Williams failed his physical with the Lakers. So now they're still centerless, but this trade could still go through because the Hornets are planning to, um, dispute the Lakers' claims. So we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah,
yeah, then again, this is it's just wild. This has been probably the wildest NBA trade deadline that I've ever seen.
absolutely.
And
I agree. I totally agree. This is. You remember the time when KD got traded to the Suns from the Nets?
yeah, I remember exactly where I was. I was at work.
This
I was
this
tripping.
this completely eclipsed that trade altogether.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as far as rankings go, like the Lakers fleeced the Mavericks. They absolutely fleeced them. And as for the rest of the trades, I feel like the A tier, the best trades were Spurs doing all those trades. Spurs landing Fox, and obviously Luka trade is highest, and then it's Fox to the Spurs. The Butler trade is in the middle. I feel like it could go either way depending on how the depth affects the Warriors. And according to me, the Mavericks, the worst ever trade. They're in the absolute bottom. And Clippers, yeah, we were talking about the Clippers. I forgot to mention. They gave away Terrence Mann, which is very surprising. Considering they could have done that a few years ago, where his stage trade stock was at an all-time high. They instead did it a
Yeah,
little late. Do you think
I
Bogdanovich
agree.
moves the needle as much for the Clippers now?
I don't. I mean, he can definitely move the needle, but not in a tangible sense. You know what I mean?
Okay. I
Terrence
think
Mann
that
was
their starting lineup has
definitely,
changed, right?
yeah. But my point is, Terrence Mann was a person who has a lot of experience playing with Ty Lue, just playing with the Clippers roster. He's been on the Clippers for ages, ever since they beat the number one seeded Jazz in 29, sorry, 2021. Yeah, and went to the Western Conference Finals. He's been on that roster and he's been through all the highs and lows. So I really feel like was a good role player. He had fit well into his role, but at the same time, I definitely trust in Bogdanovich. He's an international player. He has a lot of experience as well, and I'm just not sure what the difference could be. That's what I think we'll have to wait and watch. But I would definitely say it's a nice trade for the Clippers.
Yeah. Powell, Harden, Bogdanovich, Kawhi, and Zoo.
Yeah,
Like Harden said,
it's actually not a bad starting lineup at all.
yeah. If anything, it's really good. And I might even expect Bogdanovich maybe to come off the bench for, say, who else can play? Derek Jones. I think Derek Jones might start at power forward, and they'll probably break Bogey off the bench. But this is going to be good to see. Like, I do think uh, like Harden said, anybody can go off on the Clippers. Now, if they can just secure a good seeding spot, it'll be good. But yeah.
I agree.
I think that's been most of the major trades covered. and there were a little bit of minor ones as well, but yeah, these were the ones that I think really moved the needle, and the ones that you guys will be
Shook the
really
league
excited
up.
by.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we do know that the All Star game is soon, so we'll cover that as well, right? The format is completely changed, and it's really
Change. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. It's. I don't know why they keep changing the format every single year. It's kind of getting boring.
Yeah, it's like three teams now, and
Yeah.
it's like a knockout format where uh, you know there's also the Rising Stars with four teams. Sorry, my bad. Three teams that are drafted by Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq respectively,
Yeah.
and then fourth Rising Stars team, and then they just play one round knockouts, and then the winner of those two plays the actual final All Star game. So I think they're trying to shake things up because the viewership for the All Star game, they've been saying that it's pretty bad and it's not been interesting. So it's going to
The
be good.
players have to play better. They have to be more competitive. Once they've been playing this format for like 3 4 years, again it's going to be non-competitive. And what are they going to do? Change the format again?
Yeah, I think that they should stick to one thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I feel like the constant change might also be novel, so they could keep doing this. But again, Adam Silver is just making a lot of changes now. I don't know how much of them are going to be actually good. So we'll have to see. But I'm really excited to see the All Star game this season, especially since Harden is an All Star, well deserved, and it's going to be a good season. So yeah, that's it for the trade deadline.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, we'll be back for the All Star break. And I think this is going to be a very long season, an exciting season, and we're really eager to cover the rest of it.
Yep. So yeah, back to the Luka game. Let's go. Let's see
Yeah,
what he does in the second half.
yeah. I
Okay.
think it's
Thank you,
40-58 right now. Let's catch catch it before halftime. Yeah.
guys.
As I said, I can't believe this is my life.
Okay, I'm ending the episode here.